Hello YouTube and welcome back to Explain 11. Thank you very much for joining me in this video, and today I'm going to be taking a look at this Cloud Art 3.3 or currently 3.3. This is a cloud and sky color add-on which should change the way explained clouds and naturally sky, sun, I think maybe moon as well look like during different times of the day and of course in different weather conditions. Now I'm going to be testing this in scattered clouds and overcast. Unfortunately I do not have the time to test it through everything, but I'm going to go through any frame rate issues that it has, what the impact is, and we're going to use X visibility as well and a water script, so we're going to be looking at that and I'll be showing you how to install it and just seeing what it brings to the table. It's freeware, so it should be pretty good. You can see from the screenshots it does look pretty good, and we'll see just what happens. So make sure you stay tuned for that coming up in the next half an hour. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is download the file that I'm highlighting right there. The links will be in the description box below for all of these. So once you've downloaded that, I think it's a link to Google Drive on this one. Once you've gone ahead and downloaded that, I do recommend you save it in a specific place such as weather or whatever as an add-on. You also need to go ahead and download this one, X Visibility Dynamic Haze Control. Again, link is in the description. And this one, the Lua script for water enhancement. So once you've gone ahead and done that, just go to where those files are and I will show you how to install them. So here we go, you can see that I've got the weather folder and I've just gone ahead and extracted the cloudart.rar file to that. What I need to do is take that resources file and I need to take it to the explain directory there, the root directory, and you can see a resources file there. So all I do is drag and drop. That is all I've got to do, and you can see that my Terracopy is telling me I want to replace them. You can actually see the difference in the sky colors there, so I'll just run through a couple of those before I press overwrite all. So you can see all the differences, and I'm just going to now go ahead and overwrite all with the sun glow because it's just going to take too long. And there we go. That is that installed. Then what we need to do is go into resources, go into plugins, go into FlyWithLua. Where is it? There it is. Go into FlyWithLua scripts, and then in here we need to go ahead and take a look at those two, X visibility and the water preset. All I need to do is go ahead and copy that and paste it over in there. And that's it. That is it installed. Well, let's just jump into Explain 11. And what I'm going to do is show you the before and after. So I'll show you stock standard Explain, and then I'll show you it with this. And we'll be jumping between the two and I'll be talking about the differences and I'll have it on screen which one is which. For this, I'm also not going to be using Active Sky XP. So for those people who are going completely with freeware, we're looking at Reshade and this cloud add-on, and we'll see, well, the haze and the water. We'll see what we get in Explain 11. So this is with the standard. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a takeoff and then potentially go up to I think about 1,500 feet, and then I'll go ahead and change it to the new version. So you can see here I'm in the 40s, I'm in the mid 40s with the frames, and outside things look nice. I mean, with scattered clouds on this one there was one big difference, is that Explain decided to give me a little bit more in the way of clouds on this than with the other one. But you can see we've got some decently fluffy clouds. They do look somewhat like clouds. We've got a blue sky. Things look okay. Things do look okay. Nothing spectacular, but it is quite acceptable, and it is something that many of us have been using for a long time. The water does look pretty good. I'll be doing more looking at the water, but let's go ahead and jump into this one here. So now you can immediately see, first of all, less clouds, but if you look at the colors, the sky is far more blue, and that is not got to do, it has nothing to do with the lack of clouds. You can just see that the sky is just a lot brighter and the clouds have a lot more in the way of definition. The first lot, they look like fluffy, what are the name of the clouds? Cumulus clouds. these look a lot better. Let's switch on my piezo heater, autopilot and heater as well, so I can use that later in the video, and you can just see the water over on the side. But we'll be coming back to the water momentarily. We'll go outside in the old one in a moment, and then we'll do one with the new one, and we'll have a look around. But you can immediately see just how different the clouds look. And this is using the standard version, so I forgot to mention that there are two versions. There's the standard version and the fast version. The fast version is not supposed to have as much of an impact on your frames, and this version is supposed to have an impact on your frames. I'll be honest, I was hard pressed to find any more than maybe a 2-frame impact, and my specs on my computer at this point in time are not that good. We'll jump back to this one now, and you can see, let's have a look around. Now this is where I take a look at the water. Now I didn't know what to expect, so this is the standard water in X-Plane. It is okay. I mean, I think the waves look a little bit close together in my opinion, but it does look quite nice. It does look like water. It isn't too much of a problem. Having a look around, you can see that I am taking a look at the frames here as well, so keep a close eye on the frames. We're going between the 30s and the 40s. So you can see there we're going quite high into the 50s actually. You can see us jumping into the 50s. You will see, I think there was a point where I did go over 60 as well. But then as we look around, ignoring the Orbex ground scenery, that of course is payware, we do dip into the high 30s, looking around there. But we also have the 40s. For the most part, which is really good. I am using the Vulkan setup here, so we are on the Vulkan API. But that is still fairly good, and you can see as I'm looking around everywhere, just getting a feel for where the frames are dropping, and taking a look at the clouds and the sky colours again. They look fine. There's nothing wrong with them. I think X-Plane have done a decent job with the sky colours. Of course, with Reshade, I managed to make it pop a little bit more, but they do look quite alright. However, as soon as we jump back into the new one, there's the difference. First of all, just take a look at the water. Now this absolutely shocked me as I go into the 60s here. It's fantastic. It really is. That is how I think water should look. That is one of the best things I see with the water. Yes, I think maybe it is not designed so much for very low level flying. I think perhaps it's for more, maybe 5,000 feet and above, 6,000 feet and above. And also taking a look around at the clouds. The clouds are brilliant. They really, really are. You can see I just popped between Reshade there because I thought, was Reshade on or off? Because normally I see a little bit of a blue haze on my Reshade that I haven't yet fixed. I couldn't see it here, so I thought, is Reshade on or off? In addition to that, look in the distance, we've got the haze. We actually have this nice haze. Now that is also present in the normal X-Plane, but I think here it's just a little bit better defined, and I think it just fades out a little bit better. You can just see the ground fading out all the way. So I think that this is quite categorically a win for this cloud art. Easy. It is easy. I mean, a few things you might notice. There is some, if I move around, you can see some little pop in here and there. I think that is an X-Plane issue, and there is some Z-axis texture flickering. So there is some conflicting textures that you do see here and there. You'll see it a little bit later on in this video as well. That is probably one criticism of it. But I mean, can you really argue it's freeware? This is freeware and it looks like that. It's brilliant. It really, really is. Going back to standard X-Plane, and we're looking at a wing view now as we're climbing through the clouds. So this is quite nice. You can see that the clouds are rather soft, rather fluffy, very, very soft edges all the way around. They do sort of blend into one. You can see the haze. It's quite nicely there in the distance, but I think the haze is not quite as pronounced and not quite as easy to see as we go through a layer of cloud, which I think was rather nice to go through. But it is very soft. That is the one thing about the X-Plane 11 clouds. They are very, very soft. So what we are looking at here is we're trying to see if there is any specific definition to any of these clouds, and you can see that as we're going through the clouds, we're popping out the top. You can just see the blue just coming up at the top of your screen, but the clouds themselves just blend into each other, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with the clouds sort of blending in the way they do, but it is not completely realistic. I mean, you can see some of the clouds have a little bit of definition in the distance. One to the right hand side of the screen has a little bit more definition, but any of those closer to us do look like they're all just blending in as one cloud. Now again, in some cases that is perfectly correct, but there needs to be a little bit more, I don't know what the right word is. I think maybe there needs to be a little bit more in the way of shadows on the clouds, in the way of sharper lines. Not too sharp, they still need to look fluffy, as it were, but this looks more like, I'm not sure how to describe it, but going on to this, you can immediately see the difference and what I'm talking about. I suppose there's a little bit more in the way of shadows on these clouds, so they look more 3D as I'm climbing through the clouds. Now unfortunately, when we are not going to be going through a layer of cloud on this one because the clouds were a little bit too far away, but you get the idea of they do not look flat. I suppose that is what it is. Those clouds are fluffy, but they look flat all the time. These ones, they are fluffy, but they also have slightly sharper definitions. You can see on the right, they have slightly sharper definitions, and whilst they look fluffy, they have shadow. There's different colours. They are not all white, and because they are not all completely white or very, very light grey, you can sort of differentiate between them. And I think that is what is really, really important. I think maybe that is what also is setting this add-on, this modification apart from the standard clouds. And you can see that even the clouds that are sort of translucent also have some sort of specific shape. It's not just a little bit of haze, and I think that is really, really important. Now the resolution could be a little bit better, I think, but in terms of if they increase the resolution, of course it would be a lot more impactful on the frames. I would like to see one with improved resolution. For example, I'm running a 4770K. If I was running an 8th or 9th or 10th generation Intel CPU, I'm sure I'd be able to get much better frame rates even if I had a higher resolution on the cloud. So it is something interesting to see. What I'm now going to do is we are in an overcast condition. So with the overcast one, the idea is I thought if I do overcast, both X-Plane would render both almost identically. So we should be able to see exactly what it does to the colours of the sky, the colour of the ground, and anything like that. The dynamic haze, for example, I want to see how that works. So you can see here we are in overcast conditions, a typical British day, I suppose, for the most part, when it isn't summer, which is one day of the year. So when it isn't raining, when it isn't foggy, when it isn't the one day of summer, this is most of our weather. That is a joke. We do have better weather than this. Please do come visit England after the whole pandemic is over. Or the United Kingdom, actually. Scotland is brilliant, and so is Wales. But you can see here that we do have darker clouds, and they sort of are all one layer, which overcast does tend to look more like just one flat layer of clouds. In the distance, you can see that the visibility is not all too great. The clouds are fairly low in this one. I think in the other one, X-Plane decided to give me slightly higher clouds. So I think these clouds have a base at around 1,500 or 1,800 feet. The other one, I think, had a base at 2,400 feet, but it is the best that I can do at this point in time. So you can see we're actually going into the cloud at this point, but things are still a little bit lit up. It's still a little bit brighter. As we go into the cloud, you can see that they are very soft still. This doesn't look bad at all, to be honest, at this level. It's, in fact, I think it is quite nice. What I am going to do though is I am going to swap over to the cloud art version, and you're going to see the difference in not only in the cloud, where you can see now it's all lit up as I've gone into the cloud, but you're going to see a difference in the haze and the dynamic haze, and of course you might see the water as well. Interestingly enough, I didn't take a look at the frames just now, but I think I get slightly better frames on this. Now with this kind, it is not so much a flat layer. You can see there is more definition once again to the clouds. That is probably a matter of opinion. Sometimes the clouds are just almost flat. It's just like a layer of flat clouds. But more often than not, when you do look at the clouds, you might see little gaps here and there, especially if it is overcast. You'll see just a little bit in terms of the fluffiness or the base of the cloud, which is great. Not all the time, but it is amazing how these small differences make a massive change. For example, I was perfectly happy with the clouds as they were, and then I looked at this and I thought, no, now I am perfectly happy with this. The other thing that is amazing, it is a lot darker in this, and in fact if you look at the haze, it is very, very difficult to see. I wasn't sure whether I was in the right place, to be honest, to start with. I was looking around and thinking, where on earth am I? Because I couldn't see the ground, I couldn't make out the landmarks, I couldn't even see the ocean properly. In fact, if you look out there, you can just see that where is the ground and where is the ocean? It is difficult to see. You can just see it from the bottom. You can just see the beach or the coastline. If you looked out the window that I was just showing. But that is the thing about these mods combined. As we go through the clouds here in Standard Explain, we are dropping a few frames here and there as we go through the clouds, but that is normal. Clouds do of course take up some frames, and as I've mentioned, I do have a fairly old CPU. I think my CPU is now 7 years old. It is, yeah, I think it is 7 years old. So you can see we are going through the clouds, and I think we're going to break through on this, and then I'm going to do another one where I think I look from the wing, doing a similar sort of thing, breaking through the clouds, going through the clouds, and then we'll have a look up and around at the top. But at the moment it's just white. There is a little bit, if you look closely, you can see some of the textures of the clouds, the edge of the cloud, and it does look fairly okay, and you can see that it is lightening up ever so slightly, which is well done, but that cloud does not look all too realistic. So we're going to see if the cloud art version can bring forward at least some of that realism. I'm not expecting, or wasn't expecting, the greatest in terms of realism going through the clouds. That is fairly good still. As we go through and come up to the top of the cloud, you can see that the blue sky is starting to peek through more and more and more, and there you go, that is looking okay. That is looking okay. We still have some set fighting, and I'll just do a quick peek out here. There you go. And you can see, I think, is that reading 25 on there for the frames? So we are dropping quite a few. This is one of the reasons I do not play in overcast conditions. As I said, my CPU, at the settings I want it at, my CPU cannot handle overcast conditions. What we are going to have a look at is we are going to try and see what we get with the cloud art. So you can see, again, soft but decent. The other issue is, if you have a look here, there's a lot of blue for some reason. Now this was a reshade issue, something I mentioned earlier. If I drop out of reshade, and I am going to do so in a moment, there you go, you can see that the clouds are okay, but for some reason reshade was just not happy with all these clouds. It is a little bit odd, so I thought maybe I'm going to have the same kind of issue. I might have the same kind of issue when I put the cloud art on. Amazingly, I did not. I really did not have that issue. Broken clouds, they look okay, but here we go. Now we're going through some broken clouds in with the cloud art. And you can see it is different. As we break through, the sky once again is a lot more blue, and I think there is a point, I did pre-record this, so I'm adding the voiceover after. There is a point where I drop out of reshade just to see what the sky colour is outside of reshade, but the sky is more blue. The clouds are breaking more realistically because of the shape of the cloud, because of the shape of the textures, and I think that it does look a lot better. You can see looking at the wing, or looking at the window at the wing, same kind of idea. And also the top of the cloud is not just sort of one layer, one little bumpy layer. You can see that there's a cloud, and there's sort of a hole in the middle of the cloud, so the cloud continues on both sides, which I think is really nice. We'll take a look out the side window once again. Frames look similar, I think. Honestly, I do not think that was reading 25. I think that was reading 35. It was reading 35 earlier. I did see a drop to 29 in this. I think it was in this one that I did see a drop down to 29, which is okay. It's still playable. It's at the 30 mark, so, or around the 30 mark. Switching off reshade, you can still see the sky colours are still much nicer. In fact, I think I might have to change reshade just to get this running, or just to have this slightly better on the sky colours, because it was designed for the original sky colours, or I did tune it for the original sky colours. But in terms of the actual effects of this particular add-on or mod, it's brilliant. It really is. Everything looks nicer. I'm just going to start getting screenshots now for the thumbnail. I'll try and pick a thumbnail, but everything looks nicer. It runs fairly well. This is not the fast version, so if you did have the fast version, I'm going to say that you'll probably have nicer clouds but better frame rates. So there is that as well for you to look at. You can still see, there you go, I did say I was going to point some of this out. You can see some of that Z-axis fighting, the textures. You can see them fighting there, but that is I think that is just an X-plane issue in and of itself, and cannot be fixed at this point in time. But I am going to end it there. I do highly recommend this product, or this add-on. This is really good, and you can see, hopefully I have managed to showcase just how good it is. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, complete with that notification bell to be informed when I release new episodes, which should be every Wednesday. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think of this video, of the actual product. If you downloaded it, any issues you might have, I will try and help if you do have issues. Unfortunately, I cannot always help. Sometimes issues just tend to happen. The best place to go is the X-Plane forum. If you can afford to do so and really do enjoy the videos, please do consider supporting me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/ecgadgets. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out and allow me to do this in the future, hopefully for a living. Also, you can find me on social media at ecgadgetslp for both Twitter and Instagram. Look at that hole. That just looks so nice. Just broken clouds and a hole in the middle, just as you would get in real life. Looks brilliant, and the clouds look fantastic all the way around it. I highly recommend this product, the dynamic haze, cloud art, and that the water fix. All of them look brilliant. But anyway, that is all from me, and I'll see you guys next time in X-Plane 11, where I'm not sure. I'll have to see exactly what I get up to. If you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments box, if there's anything that you want me to take a look at, and I'll see what I can do. I'll see you guys then.